Story: The Little Turtle and the Magic Stone. Once upon a time, a little turtle named Tawan lived by a quiet stream. He walked slowly, unlike the other animals, and often felt lonely. Yet his heart was gentle and full of kindness. Each evening, he watched the sun fade, listening to the flowing water, wishing for a friend to sit beside him. One day, he found a glowing stone, shining like a fallen star. It whispered, "If you help others with a true heart, I shall grant you one wish." Surprised, Tawan carried it with care. On his way home, he heard a faint cry and discovered a small bird trapped in a thorn bush. Though slow, he patiently bit the twigs until the bird was free. The bird fluttered into the sky, thanking him with shining eyes. At that moment, the stone glowed again. "What is your wish?" it asked. Tawan smiled softly and said, "I do not wish for speed or wings. What I truly want is a true friend by my side." The next morning, the little bird returned with many companions. They circled joyfully above, singing sweet songs and staying close. From that day on, Tawan was never lonely again. Moral of the story: friendship and kindness are treasures greater than any magic. Story: The Shy Hedgehog and the Flower Crowns. Once upon a time, there was a hedgehog named Quan. He was very shy and often hid behind bushes, afraid to approach anyone. But he loved one thing deeply: weaving little flower crowns with care. Every morning, Quan sat under a tree, quietly making crowns, never thinking anyone would want them. One day, a strong breeze carried a crown onto a squirrel's head. The squirrel laughed in delight and asked, "Who made this?" Quan blushed and stayed silent, but the squirrel noticed flowers in his hands. Smiling, the squirrel said, "You're amazing. Let's make them together." From then on, Quan was never alone. He taught his new friends to weave crowns, sharing them at forest festivals. The laughter and joy taught him that true happiness is not only in creating beauty, but in sharing it with a friend. Moral of the story: even small talents can open the door to friendship and joy when shared with others. Story: The Lantern of Fireflies. Once upon a time, there was a little one who loved gazing at the night sky. He always wondered why the stars could shine while he had no light of his own. One night, he found an old lantern on the hill and wished that if it ever shone, he would never feel lonely again. But the lantern was empty, with no oil and no flame. He sat quietly until a firefly landed inside, followed by dozens more that gathered together. Suddenly, the lantern glowed warmly, like a tiny star floating before his eyes. Friends from the forest followed the gentle light, gathering around with smiles. Soft laughter filled the air as everyone shared joy beneath the glowing lantern. From that night on, he lit the Lantern of Fireflies each evening so friends could gather and no one would feel alone. He realized that true light was not in the lantern or the sky, but in the heart, shining brighter when shared with a friend. Moral of the story: even a little warmth shared can turn the darkest night into one filled with smiles and friendship. Story: The Sprout Beneath the Moon. Once upon a time, a little one found a tiny sprout by the stream, weak and drooping. Feeling pity, he watered it every night, even when his eyes grew heavy with sleep. Night after night, he never forgot to care for it, whispering softly to the sprout. Moonlight bathed its leaves, and little by little, the sprout grew stronger. Before long, it became a tall, shady tree. Many friends from the forest came to rest beneath its branches, sighs grateful for the shelter. The little one smiled with joy, knowing that his small efforts had grown into a gift for everyone. Moral of the story: even the smallest acts of care, when done with love, can grow into something beautiful and lasting. Story: The Rainbow After the Rain. Once upon a time, there was a little one who disliked the rain. Every drop that fell made him feel sad and hide away. But one day, after a long night of rain, he stepped out from the trees and saw a grand rainbow stretching across the sky. Its colors shone like a heavenly bridge, washing away his sadness at once. Friends from the forest gathered to admire it together, laughing joyfully. He learned that though rain brings cold and gloom, it also brings the gift of a bright rainbow in the end. From then on, he no longer feared the rain, knowing that behind the dark clouds, colors of hope always await. Moral of the story: troubles and sadness may fall like rain, but once they pass, beauty and hope will always appear.